If it's not too late, delay the kick-off and find out who the missing pad belongs to. But if the kick has already been taken and the pad doesn't represent a danger to or interfere with players in the vicinity, allow the play to continue. You can then resolve it when the ball is next out of play.
Welcome back to the Ref Show. We heard from Nick Matthew, former world squash champion in part one, and now we're going to be talking football with a cricket umpire, former Test match umpire John Holder, who I had the pleasure of meeting at the National Football Museum in Manchester. I'm really delighted that you could join us. Differences from your day. There was none of this DRS system. Would you prefer back then to have had the benefit of this, or was it better without it?
For me, the whole DRS system is about perfection, getting every decision right, which is humanly impossible. So for me, it dehumanizes the game to some extent. But the emphasis now, as far as the media is concerned and the people who run the game, is about accuracy, 100% accuracy if possible.
So you're not a fan?
Not at all. And I don't. It's here to stay. I mean, people say it's unfair. It's tough on the umpire because you've made a decision in good faith, and then all of a sudden it's been reviewed either by the batting side or the fielding side, and then the third umpire goes through all the process of reviewing on the giant replay screen on the ground. So you've got to stand there and watch your decision pulled apart, and it can be humiliating. There's at least one former elite umpire who quit because of that.
Who's that?
Mark Benson.
And precisely for that reason?
Yes. He just didn't like the process of what was happening. So he resigned and went back to umpiring county cricket.
Understood there, John, but let's turn it on its head. If it's getting a decision right, what's wrong with that?
But a reality of umpiring is that there are times out there on the field where there's an appeal and you just don't know what has happened. I did my last Test match at Lord's in 2001, Australia, and I had a monumental stroke of luck. Australia batting in their first innings, and I was standing at the pavilion end when Andy Caddick came on to bowl. He replaced Darren Gough, and Caddick is 6'6", very tall, so he made the ball bounce awkwardly at Michael Slater, who fended at the ball, which went through to Alex Jordan. From where I was, there was no noise, there was no deviation. And much to my delight, Slater put the bat under his arm and walked off the field.
Right.
So he'd obviously nicked it, and he knew he'd nicked it, but from where he was, there was nothing.
You would have given not out?
I would have, if he'd stood his ground, I could only have given him not out.
But there was no snicker?
No, there wasn't.
So you couldn't have been exposed for getting that decision?
Listen, at the end of the over, as I walked the square, I looked up to the heavens and said, thank God. The whole idea behind DRS was to get obvious mistakes right, was to reverse obvious mistakes. But that's not what is happening. It's being used tactically. So it's not a matter of getting obvious mistakes right. It's a matter of either the batting side or the fielding side, because there are times now when, there was a Test match in Barbados in 2009, Australia, England, West Indies, and Kevin Peterson knew he was out. I think he was out LBW plumb, but it was at a crucial stage of the game, and I suppose he wanted a big innings, and he reviewed it, but it was so palpably obvious that he was out, but he was using it tactically, and that's not what it's used for. It was so plain that he was out. But he just wanted to carry on batting if possible.
Do you have faith in the Hawkeye system?
I've had serious reservations about the accuracy of the predictive path of Hawkeye, aspect of Hawkeye. And I've seen some predictions from Hawkeye that just defy any sort of logic. There was one I think it was a Test match or one day international in India recently, a few months ago, where on a flat pitch, where the ball wasn't turning at all, and there was an LBW appeal, I think, against one of the Indian batsmen. And Hawkeye showed this ball pitching outside the off stump and turning down the leg side. Well, that would have been the only ball in that whole match that turned like that, because the ball was just going straight on. And now I've been reading a blog from Australia where there are questions, serious questions being asked about the predictive aspect of Hawkeye.
Can anybody prove it though, either way?
No, you can't. I just don't see how you can say with complete accuracy that when a ball has been intercepted, exactly where it would have gone. That's what Hawkeye is trying to do, and to me, it gets it wrong too often.
That's an interesting point. What about the mood of the game, the atmosphere of the game, the immediacy of it? Has that been interfered with? Has cricket as a spectacle been diluted because of technology?
I think a little bit of the spontaneity of the game has gone because of the technology. And the whole thing about technology is trying to get every decision right. And I think the game has, in my opinion, been dehumanized to some extent from this almost obsession with getting every decision right.
Yeah, you'd be accused of being a dinosaur, though.
Well, so be it. So be it. That's my opinion.
Is it in common currency, that kind of view from people of your generation who played in your era?
I don't think it's just people of my generation. I think younger people don't necessarily agree with the whole DRS system either. But it's been brought in, as I said, because they're looking for total accuracy, complete accuracy in decision making. The game is played by human beings as well. Players make mistakes. Umpires make mistakes.
All sports are different. So you're really against it in cricket. You're against the trend and what's happening. Rugby league and rugby union would seem to have introduced technology quite successfully. Football has been very hesitant. Which way do you think football should go with this?
I think the obvious one with the goal line technology, where you can prove, hopefully, if the camera work is good enough, you can prove that the ball either did or didn't go over the goal line. I'm quite happy with that. But for the rest, I don't particularly want to see every decision that the referee makes being reviewed almost like it is in cricket. I don't want to see that.
Do you feel that it would weaken his position and undermine his confidence in the same way that you're suggesting the confidence of umpires?
Yes, and quite honestly, the elite umpires, who are all employed by the ICC, they are not going to come up publicly and say that they don't agree with DRS, because they stand to lose their jobs. You know, DRS is approved by ICC, and they want all their officials to be saying yes, it's wonderful. So the fact that some of the elite umpires have said that they agree with it, I don't necessarily agree with it at all. That I don't think they're being totally honest.
Isn't it easier though in football to facilitate it? I mentioned football again, and the fact we're at the National Football Museum in Manchester, various interactive exhibits here. You'll hear cheering coming across the interview. It might even be in support of your views, John. I'm assured by our experts at You Are the Ref that it's distinctly possible for a video official, referee in the stand, to look at a bank of monitors and within seconds correct a mistake, come to the right decision. What's wrong with that?
I mean, as I said, DRS was brought in for the obvious mistake, and I don't have a problem with that. My main problem with DRS is that predictive element of Hawkeye. That for me that's a bugbear as far as I'm concerned. It cannot be accurate. It can't be any more accurate than me standing there at the bowler's end, having watched where the ball has gone and what it would do, and having watched previous balls as well. So you know where the bowler is bowling from, you know what the pitch is doing, because every pitch is different. And I just don't see that predictive aspect of Hawkeye could be more accurate than an umpire.
And John, you don't think then that football referees would be as greatly undermined as cricket umpires by just a voice in the air?
For me and football referees, all I would have the technology for is for the goal line. That's all. I want the game to be played and refereed by human beings.
John, it's been a real pleasure talking to you. Thanks very much indeed. Thanks there to John Holder with some great insights, not only on cricket, but on his love of football, as we heard earlier as well from Nick Matthew. Thanks as ever for watching. We'll be back with a more conventional ref show next week. As ever, really appreciate all your comments, all your queries. Do get them in to youaretheref.com, and we'll see you again next week. Bye for now.